Coming up on Cruisin'.
The official color is DuPont RS 914.
Looks pretty red to me. Look at this stunning 1960 Dodge Seneca. It's bold, it's elegant, it's...
really bizarre styling they were doing back then.
Well, now that you mention it, here's the secret to that great-looking mirror finish.
I clean the bugs off the front when I come up from Dover.
Thank you. Plus,
finding a place that is as rodent-free as you could imagine.
winter is coming. Mike has tips in storing your classic. You know what's coming up next?
Yes, sir.
Cruisin' starts...
Cut.
But we're just getting started. Hi, and welcome to Cruisin'. I'm Scott Miller, car enthusiast and regular guy just like you. We're in the shadow of the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. And what do they say in the National Football League on any given Sunday? Well, this given Sunday, it's about cars. We're at Quaker Steak Lube in Canton, Ohio for their Sunday car cruise. Let's go check it out. Matt, young guy, old car. How's it feel to actually have to roll down a window?
You know, I'm used to it. I've had old cars for a while now, so I can definitely handle. I like the wing window. Definitely need it in this kind of weather.
1960 Dodge Seneca. That's out of the Dart family?
Yes, sir.
And what drew you to this car?
I like the Mopar stuff from this era. I like the fins. I like the really bizarre styling they were doing back then. Virgil Exner is the styler of this car, and I really like what he was doing. Just really different stuff, you know?
So at one point you decide you're going to pick up a vintage automobile.
I'm trolling Craigslist to find the deals.
Okay.
I've always, you know, I wasn't particularly looking for this car when I found it, but I saw it, the price was right, I had to have it.
And what kind of condition was it in?
You know, the outside was pretty much exactly, you know, this is the original paint on this car. It didn't run or stop, or you couldn't drive it. I had to have it trailered to my house and went through all the mechanics and got it running, and it runs like a top now.
What's underneath that hood that makes it run like a top?
It's a 6-cylinder.
Okay.
225.
For such a large car, do you feel like it's underpowered or is it perfect?
You know, at about 70 miles an hour, she runs out of steam on the highway. But other than that, just tooling around town, it gets around good.
I noticed it has the original dealer sticker on the back.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find stuff like that anymore. And the funny thing about the dealer sticker on the back is it actually says what kind of car it is. Usually the dealer, you know, tags they put on there would just say the dealer's name or whatever, the town they were in. But so when it says Dodge and then Dodge Dart on the back.
You know, when you look at the diagnostics of the dashboard, they're antiquated, but there's something cool about that vintage styling and the push buttons and...
Exactly, yeah. They were, you know, everything was like, you know, Easy-matic, Power-matic, and this particular car is a base model car, so it has a lot of delete plates in the dash. It's got a radio delete. The original push buttons for the automatic transmission, this car is a manual transmission, so there's a delete plate for that. Kind of interesting to see those things.
What are your plans for the car? As we would probably say it's in survivor mode at this point.
Right. You know, I want to fix a little bit more of the rust. I did the fender patch on the driver's side. I want to do the fender patch on the passenger side and just keep it as, you know, presentable as possible. When
you go and you make that repair, you're going to try and keep the paint in its sort of weathered look?
Yeah, exactly. I like the, you know, antique appearance, let's say.
Well, fantastic. We love seeing the cars when you come out. When you rolled in, you were making a statement, and we appreciate you being on Cruisin'.
All right, thanks a lot.
John, you don't see a lot of Corvairs on the road. Not only is this one road worthy, sometimes the road may not be worthy of this car. Look how beautiful it is.
I don't drive it in the salt.
We're talking 61 Corvair. It's the 900 Monza, which I believe for that year was the highest trim package that you could get. But where did you get the car?
Russell Knotts in Brimfield, Ohio, right up by Mogador. He redid the whole car, and he got it from a guy that brought it back from Hawaii. He bought it new in Honolulu, and anyway, it's sat in the barn, I guess, for like 35 years. Still had the sticker, police check, right here in the corner.
Wow.
And
so, I mean, it's all the way from Hawaii and it comes to Ohio. And was Ohio its original stop out of Hawaii, or?
I guess he lived up in that area.
Yeah. And did it sit? Was it in any type of different form? Or was it always the red on red?
Well, the pictures he had from restoration when he towed it home, it was like flat black, no rust, and it had red interior with a 4-speed, and he wanted his wife to drive it, so he bought a 62 Power Glide and a 62 motor, redid them and put them in the car, so it's an automatic now.
Where, because when you look inside the car, where is that gear shift? It's not on the column, it's not on the floor, where is it?
It's a little flipper right under the ignition.
The smallest can be.
Yeah, it's hard to notice, but no park, so you got to pull the brake or you coast away.
Now the Corvair certainly comes out in the muscle car era. What type of power plant are you talking in this car? And you know, for you, it's more about the look and feel of the car? You're not trying to make a statement, are you? I mean, a Corvair's enough.
No, I heard enough stories. My grandma had a car like that. I love the car. Corvairs are great cars.
Now, outside of the fact that the paint's been changed, is there anything on the car that's not representative of a 61?
Oh, I put Corsa hubcaps on it from, I think, 1965, and I turned the white walls in. He had new old stock hubcaps on it, but I love those, and a friend told me it's more manly now.
And it gives you your opportunity to make whatever statement you need to make, which is now your car. Engine compartments in the back, you squeeze a spare tire in there and you've got what would be a serpentine belt that's taking a 90-degree turn on you. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel when it comes time to working?
Well, I'm lucked out. Everything's new, so I've been told by a lot of people that had Corvairs that never had a problem. The belt come off once, just keep it tight. And I belong to the Corvair Club now, and awesome bunch of nice guys. And anything I need, all I gotta do is call one of them.
Well, it doesn't look like it needs a whole lot. We love the car.
No, I clean the bugs off the front when I come up from Dover.
Coming up next.
There's surf on the Cuyahoga River.
Surf's up in Canton, Ohio. Next on Cruisin'. Now, back to Cruisin'.
Ron, where do I start?
Very simple. 64 Chevy Bel Air wagon. Straight patina.
Natural, original paint.
Yes, it was originally like a green metallic.
With a handful of pinstriping and some little augmentation
scalping,
here and there.
Yeah, pinstriping.
There is some modern technology. There's a lot of old school on this car. I know just the shifter alone begs the question, how high can you go with that?
Almost to the ceiling. I'm a tall guy with a long arm.
Yeah, the motorcycle guys call those ape hangers, I guess. What would you call that?
Well, that's just a skateboard on a skateboard wheel on top of a shifter. It's 32-inch high.
Now, the whole look of the car is sort of California surf. You know, the Euclid Beach Band said that there's no surf in Cleveland. Is there surf in Uniontown where you're from?
No, but there's surf on the Cuyahoga River.
The stickering, the badging of the car, obviously you're going for the surf era back in the 60s.
Correct.
What are the future plans for the vehicle and where did you get it?
Originally the car came out of Tennessee, but I bought it from a fella at Chillicothe that had a band, a rock band. He had no seats in the back. This is a 9-passenger, so I've replaced the seats in there and the rear seat that faces outward, or the old waybacks as they used to call them. But I bought it from him and then I went from there. It had a 307 in it, had a bad engine in it, and I put a 350 long block in it last year.
And you know, now you've got power under the hood. What'd you do to the suspension? Because the car is certainly not in its original profile.
It's got airbags on it with 2 V-Air compressors on it, 480s.
And of course, you got to have a GPS on a 64 because they all had GPS back then, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Exactly, exactly.
What do you see as far as the future? Obviously, you're not going to clear it. You're not going to do anything. Is there modifications to the interior? We've got burlap door panels. We've got, you know, a collection of anything and everything at this point.
I'm going to change the sway bar on the front. That's about the only thing I'm going to do to it, and possibly rebuild the rear end. That's it.
Maybe a second surfboard? You need a partner?
Oh, I do need 2 more surfboards, by the way. I would like a wooden one.
The stickering on the side of the car, is that representation of just trying to maintain a theme outside of, well, it's not under recall?
Right. And then some of the items that it has on it has painless wiring. It has Hedman headers on it. It's got Engelbrock carburetor on it, a 500 CFM.
And you're going to fill up the other back window with stickers?
No. I only put it on this side because that side's safety, so I can see out of, so if I have to turn, I can
Can't
see
have a
out.
blind spot.
No, I don't want any blind spots.
No, and you don't want anybody not seeing this car, that's for sure.
That's right, exactly.
Well, it's very unique, it's wonderful, and I'm glad you spent the time with us today.
Okay, thank you.
Don, 1952 Chevy Deluxe. The red on white, but it's not just red. What's the official color?
The official color is DuPont RS 914. It comes out of the DuPont Spectra color book.
That sounds like the launch codes for a rocket, but we'll move forward.
Yes,
Is there an official name for the interior, or is that just white?
white,
Just plain old white.
just plain white.
How do you come about this car?
I bought it the year I graduated from high school, 1962. My dad helped me. We put some fenders and rockers and quarters, another front seat, a new top.
What type of condition was the car in when you got it?
Basically terrible. Transmission was out of it. The rockers were bad, quarters, fenders were bad.
So it wasn't drivable at all?
No, we towed it home. But it was a convertible, and I was young, and that's what I wanted, so.
So the work on the car begins, and you put it on, you know, the road. You drive it for a while. Was it always in the DuPont red, or did that take some time to actually get up to that point?
Yeah, well, it took a lot of years to get it to that point. I drove it for a while. It went to the side of the garage. I picked up another car that I drove to a technical school, and it just sat there. It sat there for a long time. Kids want to get married and they want to go to college.
Life happens.
You know, so the car basically wasn't painted till the early 2000s.
Was the original intent to take it to stock, or did you want to put your own little stamp on it?
My own stamp. I wanted to do this car just like I would have done it 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The 52 Chevy Deluxe inline 6-cylinder.
Correct.
It's not a real beefy motor, and the convertibles actually came with automatics, but we see that you put the manual in there.
Well, the automatic was bad. Towed it home. I had a donor car that we took all the standard shift parts out of and put in here, so it became standard shift. I did upgrade the gauges. The one thing I did do is I converted it over to 12 volt with an alternator as opposed to 6 volt with a generator, which would never start, so we had to do that. That's about the only real upgrades.
How many miles were on the car when you picked it up?
I'm not sure, in the low 70s.
70,000.
70,000 about.
And where do we stand today?
76,000, so many hundred, I don't know.
So those years of sitting, obviously you didn't rack up any more miles, but since you've put it in such a beautiful shape and it's out and about as we see it tonight, how often do you drive it?
About every weekend that there's a car show and it doesn't rain.
Do you like it with the top down or the top up?
If things go right, I put the top down in the spring and I put it up in the fall.
If they go right.
If they go right.
Well, it's a beautiful Deluxe. Thank you for your time, Don.
Thank you very much.
Coming up.
Peppermint oil and water.
What? Okay, I give up. Mike's Garage is next on Cruisin'. Now, back to Cruisin'.
Hi, I'm Mike, and this is my garage. Well, it's that time of year again when those of us up here in the north and in the snowy states start to think about putting their cars away for the winter. First and foremost, most important is finding a nice dry storage, finding a place that is as rodent-free as you could imagine. They love to chew on the wires, they love to chew on seat foam, they love to get in all those little nooks and crannies, and then it just becomes a mess and one more thing for us to fix. As I've looked, I've tried to find different things, different stuff that people say works. I've heard Irish Spring soap put in your interior, they don't like the smell, but then I've personally witnessed an Irish Spring bar of soap in the back of my mother's convertible that was chewed on. So that makes me think maybe that doesn't work. But then I have people say they swear by it. Maybe they just have less rodents where they're storing it. Peppermint oil and water sprayed around your doors is supposed to keep spiders and mice away from your residence. So maybe you want to spray that around the garage door. Maybe you want to spray a perimeter around your car. Whatever works to keep them little buggers out, try it. So that's first and foremost. Second, I always say you take this time to get those nasty bugs off the front end. You don't want them staying on there any longer than they have to. You know, even the guts from the bugs can start eating on your paint, you know. Just get them off. Scrub them real good, take care of it, and that gives you also a chance to assess what kind of rock chips you may have gotten in your front bumper during the year. Also, things you can look for over the winter time. Maybe you've got some broken lenses in the front. You find it when you're cleaning it up to put it away, you got all winter to look for them. Christmas presents, you can always ask for them. It's a perfect time to assess the car. For those rodents, maybe put a little sock in your tailpipe. Of course, don't push it in there where you can't get it out again, although you can get it with some long needle nose pliers if that happens. Maybe put the sock over it. This is when I usually will give it a real good wax job, a hand wax, not where you're using the detail wax. A lot of times I'll use the detail wax under the hood for nice, easy cleanup, but this is where I want to do a hand wax. Again, give your car a little bit of loving before she's going to be going to sleep for the winter. Covers. A lot of guys like to put a nice soft cotton sheet down, maybe some blankets, whatever, then put their cover on. Good quality cover. Whether it's in the best storage or not, good quality cover keeps anything from scratching. You want it as clean as you can, because when you put that cover on, any dirt that's on there, if the cover grabs it and then scratches it when you're taking it off, or if you rub against it while it's in the garage or wherever it is. So again, good quality cover. On a steel tank car, the less air that can get in that tank, the less chance of corrosion inside that tank. So you put a full tank, but then you can waste a full tank of gas because it goes bad. Again, put some stable in it. I've never really had a very bad problem with gas going bad. Keep the interior clean. If you've had any food in there, any bit of food, that's just one more thing for one of those rodents to smell and want to get in there. A French fry between the seat, that could be a winter meal for a rodent. So remember, no syrups that were, coffees that were spilled, syrups from pops that splash. Rodents love any of those sticky little treats. When they're going away for the winter and we don't get to see them for a little bit, try and keep them as nice as you can to take care of them, so when you take that cover off in the spring, they look as good as they can. That's it for this week. We'll catch you next week on Mike's Garage.
Next up,
I heard them all the time. And it's not a Scooby-Doo van.
Scooby never had it this good. Coming up. Welcome back to the Quaker Steak Lube Sunday Cruise on Cruise In.
Jeff, we're going to skip over all the really great things about your van and go right to the Scooby-Doo jokes. Do you get those?
I heard them all the time. And it's not a Scooby-Doo van.
1965 Ford Econoline. And when I poked my head inside, it's not super big back there, but boy, you've done a lot with it.
It's big enough to sleep in for the weekend when you're camping.
Where'd you get the van, and was it originally just like this? What have you done to it to make it yours?
The way it's sitting now, I bought it in 1988. I did everything but repaint it.
So are you a direct descendant from anyone that went to Big Sur or the hippie culture? Because the van is totally hippied out.
No, I had an older brother that did vanning and kind of got me into it, but nobody from the surf era.
When you're out cruising around town, people come up, they look, they ask about the van. What made you choose the van over anything from the mid-60s or a muscle car or, you know, something sportier?
Because this does it all. I have a muscle van, it's a van, and I go to car shows, truck shows, I can do it all. And I can sleep in it.
Any contests or anything?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of first place, second place, best engines. So yeah, I get them all.
Do you find the van guys are a little more quirkier than the regular old car guys?
It's more of a family.
Yeah.
I'm sure the car guys are too, but we don't have to get a hotel room. We just sleep in these and have fun all weekend.
As far as the bumper goes, the bumper true to the era?
It's off a 31 Model A, front and back.
So you've got place to sleep, it's got that type of creature comfort. Any of the modern technology, go with the air conditioning or?
No air conditioning because you're such a small confined dog box. It's hard to keep the 400 horsepower cool.
To get a little warm with that engine right up front like that?
As long as you're moving, it stays pretty cool, but if you're in traffic, it can build up some heat. But it's worth it.
Well, we certainly caught a whole bunch of Hall of Famers here for our car cruise on Cruise In. We want to thank the folks at Quaker Steak and Lube in Canton. I'm Scott Miller. We hope you catch us next time on Cruise In.